Welcome to Davey's Take. Today we were talking about Longlegs, the highly anticipated horror film directed by Oz Perkins. So Longlegs is about an FBI agent that is tracking down a serial killer, and I will leave it at that because that's all I knew about the film. And before I get into the review, and if you've been following my channel, yeah, everything looks different. I moved, and that is why I've missed a few movies that have come out in the past couple of weeks. But I'm back. I'm back to talk about movies. This might be my setup moving forward. I might change up things. Who knows? I'm just happy to have my spinning chair back. I didn't have this chair at the old place, but I have it back now. Let's talk about Longlegs. This film has so much hype, so much buzz. It's what everyone's talking about online. They're saying this is the scariest movie to come out in the last millennium. And for me, that's not what got me super excited for this film. It was just the premise of it. An FBI agent tracking down a serial killer. It sounds like it could be Silence of the Lambs, sounds like it could be Seven. It's just that type of vibe that I absolutely love in movies. And I really enjoyed Longlegs, but I'm here to set the record straight. I don't think this is the scariest movie to come out in a very long time. There have been better horror movies out there, there have been better thrillers, but I think this film is so well made and there are so many great things about it. The first thing I gotta talk about is the tone. It's just so perfect for what this film is going for. It's just so dreadful. It feels like everything is just fucking terrible. And the tone really emphasizes the intensity of this movie because it really does feel like there's no moment to breathe here. But what I really love is that early on in the film, they really established that this is a situation that's fucking horrible and anything can happen. And it really plays in the rest of the film with the suspensefulness, and it feels super unpredictable, and it really feels like there's parts of the film where like I have no idea where this is going. And I feel like that's extremely hard to do, especially in horror films, because we've seen it all at this point, and this film had moments where I'm like, that is pretty fucking cool. And Oz Perkins directed the shit out of this film. There are amazing shots, incredible cinematography, and these sequences are crafted with such care and suspense that they are so effective. Like the way that he has some camera shots just linger a little bit longer to really set the tone, to really set the mood. It's so effective, it's so well done. And the performances here are top notch. Micah Monroe is incredible here. This is probably my favorite performance of her in her career. Her character has so much to her that I don't really want to get into because of spoilers, but she absolutely crushes it. But all the chatter online, what people are talking about is Nicolas Cage as Longlegs, and I thought he was absolutely incredible. He is very convincing as this fucking terrifying, creepy villain. But what I liked about his performance is it's definitely that crazy Nick Cage type of performance where sometimes it almost takes you out of the experience because sometimes it can be funny. But it's almost the point because there are moments where it's super unsettling and it works really well with the character and the story. So I thought he did a great job, although I do think his makeup looks a little silly. I don't know if that's just me because there are parts where I look at him and be like, that looks fucking terrifying. But then there are parts I'm like, that makeup looks a little too silly. Like, it's just a little too crazy. And there are absolutely moments in here that are scary and terrifying, but it's very subjective. But the things that are in this film that, like I said, I won't get into because I didn't really know much about the film, this would definitely be a big spoiler, is something that always kind of freaked me out. So it was effective for me, but I will say it goes into some of my issues with the film. But I gotta kind of dance around those issues because it would be major spoilers talking about it, and I'm not gonna get into it, I'm not even gonna hint at it. I just wanna let you guys know that there are parts of this story, for me, really worked, but then there are other parts that I feel like were not as subtle as it needed to be. Some parts of it that overall work really well, but there are other parts that kind of lessen the experience for me and something that I was kind of expecting. There's some really great ideas here, but there's some areas where they went a little too far, and I think it overall took me out of some of the realistic, creepy, atmospheric tone that they were going for. Don't get me wrong, there are definitely some parts that are still really scary and terrifying. There are some shots and imagery that I thought was fucking disturbing. I just want to warn you guys, so there's some parts I'm like, you really got me, you're like, oh, you kind of went there. It's not the end of the world, but and because of all that, I'm very curious to see what people think of Longlegs. I think it's going to be a very polarizing film. I'm definitely more on the side that I think this film is really fucking good because of the filmmaking and the tone it's going for and the really creepy shit that happens. But I definitely can see that there's going to be another side of this film that think it's really stupid. To be honest, I'd be shocked if there's people just down the middle on this thing. I think it's going to go one way or the other. For me, I'm not all the way right saying this is a masterpiece. I'm kind of over here. I think it's really well done. It's a really great horror movie, but I just had some issues. So I would go into this film with those expectations. I don't think it's anything that's going to absolutely blow your mind. I don't think it's the best horror thriller film since Silence of the Lambs, but I think it's one of the better horror films I've seen lately, and it's definitely worth a watch. I'm going to give Longlegs 8 Davey Daves. I really can't emphasize enough the filmmaking here. It's just so great. And the ending, I'm curious to see what people think of it. For me, it's sort of 50-50. I think there are some parts that are really great. There's some parts that kind of fell flat, which affected my score a little bit. So, Longlegs, let me know what you guys thought of it once you've seen it. I'm curious to hear. And thank you so much for watching. Click here to see more of Dave's Takes.